After my stepsister Serena and I were caught in an avalanche, the rescue team found us. But the only stretcher was enough for one person. My father held my hand and said, "Arya, your sister is weak, let her go first. You wait here for the next wave of rescue." In my previous life, I believed him and gave Serena the hope of survival. But later, the wind and snow rose again. The rescue was interrupted, and I froze to death on the mountain. Serena inherited all the property in my name, and eloped with my fiancé, whom she had already seduced. My soul floated in the morning hall, and I heard my father say to the guests, "That child has been disobedient since she was young. Being able to trade her life for Serena's is a worthwhile death." When I opened my eyes again, I was back to the moment my father grabbed my hand. This time, with tears in my eyes, I nodded and personally sent Serena onto the stretcher again. I want to see who will die a worthwhile death. The wind and snow gradually increased, and the rescue team's figure soon disappeared into the white expanse. I dragged my tired body and began to move with difficulty in the snow. I found a leeward snow slope, dug a snow cave and curled myself inside. Isolated from the wind and snow, my body temperature began to slowly rise. I took out the satellite phone hidden in the inner pocket of my ski jacket and turned it on. The screen lit up, the faint light illuminating my bloodless face. The signal was full. As soon as the phone was dialed, it was answered almost instantly. A lazy, yet concerned male voice came from the other end. "Hey miss, finally remembered me? Didn't you say you were going to conquer the snow mountain and not play with us mortals?" It was Owen, a friend I met when I used to do outdoor sports. A madman who values life more than money and only recognizes me as a friend. "Owen, I encountered an avalanche." The other end of the phone was instantly silent. A few seconds later, there was a loud crash of a chair falling and Owen's roar. "Damn it, Arya, where the hell are you?" "Don't worry." I calmly reported my GPS coordinates. "I'm temporarily safe, but I need you to pick me up." "What about the official rescue team?" "They took my sister away," I said nonchalantly. "My dad told me to wait for the next wave." Owen was silent again. He knew better than anyone about my family's messes. "The next wave? He's telling you to wait until the next life." Owen cursed on the phone. "I saw the weather forecast. There will be a major blizzard in 12 hours. All rescue will be interrupted." "He wants you to die." "I know." My tone was frighteningly calm. "Arya, you wait. I'll get you down from that damn place even if I have to fly a fighter jet." Hanging up the phone, I leaned against the cold snow wall, closed my eyes and preserved my strength. The world at the foot of the mountain must be very lively now. I guess my good father should now be facing the media's cameras, playing the image of a father who has lost his beloved daughter, but must remain strong. And my good sister Serena is lying in a VIP ward, enjoying the best medical care, receiving everyone's sympathy and concern. Perhaps my engaged fiancé is also by her side at this moment, holding her hand, comforting her not to blame herself too much. After all, that's how it played out in my previous life. Bored, I opened the satellite phone's web browser. The signal was very slow, but enough to load a few of the latest news headlines. Daughter of Xie Group lost on Snow Mountain. Fate unknown while saving stepsister. Deep sisterly love in wealthy family. Younger sister sacrifices herself to save older sister touches countless hearts. Mr. Marcus speaks in grief. We are still doing our best to search and rescue. We'll never give up. Looking at these headlines, I almost laughed. Sacrifices herself to save older sister. Deep sisterly love. The people who wrote these articles really know how to use words. I clicked on one of the news stories and a picture stung my eyes. In the photo, Father Marcus' eyes were red, his face was haggard, and he was supported by an assistant, almost unable to stand. Serena lay in a hospital bed, her face pale, with an amphor drip in her hand. My fiancé was sitting by the bed, peeling an apple for her with his head down. What a touching picture of a loving father and filial daughter, and deep affection. I saved the photo and then turned off the phone. Time passed minute by minute. I wrapped the last blanket tightly around myself, and curled up into a ball. Even with the protection of the snow cave, the cold still pierced my bones through my clothes. I don't know how long it had been, but the satellite phone rang again. It was Owen. "Arya, can you hear me? We've already entered the mountainous area. Helicopters can't land. We can only walk up here. Hold on a little longer. Don't worry, I won't die. I licked my chapped lips. Do me a favor while you're at it. Say it. Help me check if there's anyone named Julian on all the flights entering and leaving Jing City in the past few days. Julian was my gentle and refined fiancé. In my previous life, I didn't know until after I died that he had long been together with Serena. This so-called marriage was just a conspiracy for them to unite with the Xie family and swallow the property my mother left me. He played the role of a perfect fiancé in front of me, but behind my back, he and Serena were as close as glue. Owen on the other end of the phone was silent for a moment. Then the sound of typing on a keyboard came. Found him, he flew back from Paris 3 days ago. First class. 3 days ago. The day before the avalanche. My heart sank completely. So they're so impatient. Owen, do one more thing for me. My voice was as cold as ice. Anonymously send the photos of Julian and Serena being intimate in the hospital's VIP ward to the largest entertainment media companies in Jing City. Use the title, Xie Family's Daughter's Corpse Still Cold, Fiancé and Stepsister Stage Hospital Romance. Owen whistled on the other end. Ruthless enough, I like it. Miss, you finally figured it out. You can't be soft-hearted when dealing with those scumbags. This is just an appetizer. Hanging up the phone, I stuffed the last energy bar into my mouth and forced myself to swallow it. I need to conserve my strength. A fierce battle is still waiting for me. The sky was completely dark, and the snow cave was pitch black. Just when I couldn't hold on any longer, outside the snow cave, there was a faint sound of footsteps and a few muffled shouts. Aria. Miss. It was Owen and them. My spirits lifted, and I used all my strength to climb out of the snow cave. Not far away, several figures braving the wind and snow were holding up strong flashlights and approaching me with difficulty. The one leading the way was Owen. Seeing me, he rushed over in one stride and hugged me tightly. Holy shit, you're alive. His voice trembled with the relief of surviving a disaster. I patted his back. I told you I wouldn't die. Forget the small talk, let's go. I don't want to stay in this godforsaken place for another second. A team member immediately draped a thick down jacket over me, and another handed me a thermos. The warm ginger tea flowed down my throat, dispelling much of the chill. The descent was much harder than I imagined. Owen's team was very professional. They secured a safety rope around my waist, with one in front and one behind, protecting me. Even so, I almost slipped several times. Aria, hold on tight. Owen shouted back from ahead. I gritted my teeth, following them step by step. I couldn't die here. I hadn't yet seen my good father and good sister utterly ruined. After what felt like forever, we finally saw the rescue camp at the foot of the mountain. Owen led me around to the side, where an inconspicuous SUV was parked. Get in the car first, we'll talk more back in the city. The heater was cranked up in the car, and my frozen body finally felt a little warmth returning. Owen took a first aid kit from the back seat and skillfully checked me over. Luckily, no major injuries, just some frostbite and exhaustion. He treated the small cuts on my fingers while grumbling. That old bastard Marcus, when I get back, I'm going to find someone to break his leg. Don't be rash. I stopped him. Assault is illegal. I want to make him suffer worse than death. Owen looked at me, his eyes complex. Aria, you've changed. A person who has died once is bound to change. I said quietly. The car sped along, returning to the brightly lit city. Owen took me to the presidential suite of a 5-star hotel in the city center. Stay here for the next few days, don't go home. Your home is a den of vipers now. I didn't object. What about my dad? Don't worry, I have people watching him. Every move is under my control. Owen handed me a new phone. Your card has been replaced. Contact me anytime if you need anything. I took a hot shower and changed into clean clothes, finally feeling alive again. Standing in front of the suite's huge floor-to-ceiling windows, overlooking the city lights below, my heart was ice cold. Years ago, after my mother passed away, I became depressed. It was my father and Serena who pulled me back from the brink of death with their affection and hypocrisy. Looking back now, they didn't want to save me, they just didn't want me to die so easily. After all, The huge sums of money in my name still needed me alive, so they could transfer them to their own hands bit by bit. My phone vibrated. It was a message from Owen. The photos have been sent out. Several media outlets have received them. You should see a good show first thing tomorrow morning. I replied with a single okay. Then I dialed another number. It was Uncle David, the lawyer my mother trusted most during her lifetime. Uncle David, it's me, Arya. Uncle David on the other end of the line was clearly surprised. Arya? Weren't you on the snowy mountains? I'm back, Uncle David. I interrupted him. I need you to do something for me. Make a detailed list of all the shares and assets my mother left me. Also, prepare an application to freeze the assets. Uncle David was stunned. Arya, what's going on? Something big. I looked at the night view outside the window and said, word by word, someone tried to bury me alive and seize my family fortune. The next morning, I was awakened by my phone vibrating frantically. The overwhelming news pushed notifications, almost bursting the screen. Hashtag heiress of the Xie family's fiancé suspected of cheating with stepsister. Hashtag inside a wealthy family, a carefully planned murder. Hashtag Serena's image crumbles. White Lotus or scheming woman. Hashtag. In the news, the warm photo of the hospital ward from yesterday, placed alongside the headline I had sent out, seemed especially ironic. The comment section had exploded. Holy crap! Is this real? Arya hasn't even been found yet, and they're already hooking up. I knew Serena didn't seem like a good person. She had a green tea vibe. I knew it. Poor Arya, risking her life to save a cold-blooded wolf. This fiancé isn't any better. His fiancée is barely cold in her grave, and he's already looking for a new love. Disgusting. Public opinion instantly reversed. Serena and Julian, who had been pitted by the entire internet yesterday, were now pariahs, despised by everyone. I smiled with satisfaction. This was only the first step. Soon, my father Marcus's company issued an emergency statement. In the statement, he angrily denounced these as rumors fabricated by unscrupulous media and stated that he would pursue legal action. At the same time, he also announced that he would hold a press conference at the Xie Group building at 3 o'clock this afternoon to clarify all the rumors. I sent Owen a message. 3 o'clock this afternoon, Xie Group building. Help me prepare a grand entrance gift. Owen replied instantly. Don't worry, it'll be guaranteed to amaze the whole audience. 2:50 in the afternoon. Reporters were already crowding in front of the Xie Group building. I sat in the back seat of Owen's car, wearing sunglasses and a mask, quietly watching everything. Everything's arranged. You'll enter through the side door in a moment. My people will take you to the backstage. At 3 o'clock sharp, the press conference began on time. Through the monitor backstage, I watched the 3 people on stage. My father Marcus sat in the main seat, his face grave, looking haggard. Serena and Julian sat on either side of him, both with their heads lowered, looking as if they had suffered a great injustice. First of all, thank you to all the media friends for coming. I am very angry and heartbroken about the false statements circulating online. My daughter Aria's life and death are still unknown, and my whole family is immersed in great grief. But at this time, some people are maliciously slandering my daughter Serena and my son-in-law to be Julian in order to grab attention. Serena and Arya grew up together and have a deep bond. This time, Arya put herself in danger to save her, and Serena is more remorseful than anyone else. She hasn't been in good health to begin with, and she's barely eaten or drunk anything these past few days, relying entirely on her will to persevere. As for Julian, he and Arya are like siblings. After hearing the bad news, he rushed back from abroad as soon as possible, and has been taking care of Serena in the hospital around the clock, hoping that she can recover soon and live well in place of Arya. The affection between them is pure kinship, but it has been maliciously interpreted in this way by those disgusting people. I ask you, doesn't your conscience hurt? Next up was Serena's speech. She shakily picked up the microphone, her eyes red-rimmed. I'm sorry. It's all my fault. If it wasn't to save me, my sister wouldn't have. She couldn't continue speaking through her tears, covered her face with her hands, and her shoulders trembled violently. Julian immediately took her hand and comforted her softly. Serena, Don't be like this, it's not your fault. He raised his head, faced the camera, and his eyes were filled with tears. Serena and I are innocent. I believe that Arya, in heaven, wouldn't want to see us being misunderstood like this. Keep acting. I looked at them in the monitor, the sneer at the corner of my mouth growing wider. I've seen enough of the show, it's time for my turn. I sent a signal to Owen. It's time to send my big gift. At the press conference, Marcus was about to announce that he would officially sue the slandering media on behalf of Serena and Julian. Just then, the huge LED screen at the press conference suddenly went black. There was a commotion at the scene. A few seconds later, the screen lit up again. A video appeared on it. The picture in the video was a bit shaky and the light was dim, but it was still clear that it was in a hospital room. Serena was lying in bed. Julian was sitting by the bed, looking impatient. It's so annoying, those reporters are endless. How much longer do we have to act here? Just bear with it. Serena's voice carried a hint of triumph. Once Arya's death is confirmed, no one will dare to bother us anymore. Julian, by then, everything of the Sief family will be ours. Your dad's side no problem, right? Don't worry, my dad has long disliked that disobedient daughter. He's even more anxious than us. My Serena is the best. Julian immediately put on a loving smile, took her hand and kissed it. Once we get the money, we'll travel around the world and never care about this crap again. Serena leaned docilely in his arms. Of course, then I can be your legitimate wife. The video ended abruptly there. The entire press conference was silent. All the reporters looked like they had been paused, staring blankly at the screen. Then looking at the three people on the stage whose faces instantly turned pale. A few seconds later, the scene exploded. Holy crap! What is this? Oh my god. So everything said online is true. This is fucking murder. Marcus stood up abruptly, pointed at the screen, and roared in a hoarse voice. Fake. This is fabricated. Someone, turn it off. Turn it off now. But it was too late. Just as the scene was in chaos, the door of the press conference hall was slowly pushed open from the outside. A clear, cold voice, not loud, but clearly transmitted throughout the entire venue. Father, what are you talking about so lively? Everyone's eyes turned to the door. I walked in step by step against the light. I was still wearing the white dress provided by the hotel, wearing Owen's coat over it. My long hair was loose. My face looked a little pale because I wasn't wearing makeup. But in the eyes of everyone, I at this moment was no different from a demon crawling out of hell. Someone let out a terrified scream. The reporters at the scene were stunned for a second, then reacted, and swarmed up like they were injected with chicken blood. Miss Arya, is it you? You're still alive. Oh my god. When did you come back? Is the content of the video true? Is your disappearance related to your father and stepsister? Countless microphones almost poked my face. The bodyguards Owen arranged immediately stepped forward and formed a circle around me, separating the crazy reporters. I ignored them. My gaze, from beginning to end, was fixed on the three people on the stage. My father, Marcus, had all the blood drained from his face, his lips trembling, pointing at me. You. He stammered for a long time, unable to say a word. My good sister, Serena, was even more frightened and fell directly off the chair, slumped on the ground, her face full of disbelief. And my good fiancé, Julian, stared at me, his eyes wishing he could devour me alive. I met their gazes and slowly forced a smile. Are you not happy to see me? I walked to the front of the stage, and the bodyguards helped me pull out a chair. Father, were you holding a memorial service for me just now? Marcus trembled all over. Arya, you're back. That's great. Do you know how worried Dad was about you? He rushed down from the stage, trying to grab my hand, squeezing out a smile that was uglier than crying. I slightly sidestepped and avoided him. Worried about me? Were you worried about why I didn't die on the mountain? Marcus's expression instantly froze. The flashes of cameras at the scene were even more intense. All the reporters smelled a shocking piece of news. Miss Arya, please answer our questions directly. Did your father and stepsister plan your disappearance? Is the video true? Did they really want to seize your family property, I did not answer the reporters, but looked at my father who was already ashen-faced. Father, there was a big snowstorm this afternoon. You said the next wave of rescue would arrive soon. I waited and waited until it was dark, but I didn't see anyone. I was so cold and hungry. I thought I was going to die there. My voice was calm, but with a hint of faint grievance, making many people under the stage red-eyed. Later I learned that it wasn't that the rescue team didn't come, but that you personally called them and told them to stop the rescue. You're talking nonsense. I didn't. I'm your father. How could I harm you? Didn't you? I smiled slightly, took out my satellite phone from my pocket, and pressed the play button. A recording was clearly transmitted. It was an internal call from the official rescue team that Owen had intercepted through technical means. Command Center, this is Search and Rescue Team 03, requesting instructions. 03 Mr. Xia's assistant just called. Due to weather conditions, the search and rescue operation is temporarily suspended, and all personnel are to evacuate immediately. But there's still a missing person on the mountain. That's an order. The recording was not long, but every word shattered Marcus's last pretense. He staggered back 2 steps, his face as pale as paper. No. It's not like that. I was afraid that the rescue team would be in danger. You were afraid that they would be in danger, but you weren't afraid that I would be in danger? Father, in your heart, is my life worth so little? Or rather, have you long been hoping that I would die sooner? As long as I die, the shares and property that my mother left me can rightfully fall into the pockets of you and your precious daughter, right? Every word of mine was like a knife stabbing into his heart. Marcus completely collapsed. He slumped to the ground, his face ashen, muttering to himself incessantly. No. I didn't. On the other side, Serena, after her initial shock, calmed down instead. Arya, so what if you came back alive? Do you think you can bring us down with a random recording and video? Dad is the chairman of the group, and I'm his most beloved daughter. You're a daughter who always goes against him. Who do you think the board of directors and shareholders will believe? She was right. In the Xie family, my father had been running things for many years, and his foundation was deep. As for me, because my mother died early and I had been rebellious for years, I didn't have much say in the company. As long as my father denied it, it would indeed be difficult to completely take him down with just these things. Unfortunately, she miscalculated one thing. I never intended to play any commercial warfare with him. Sister, you seem to have forgotten. My surname is Xie, but my mother's surname is Lin. The Lin family that created Lin's group, which was later acquired by Xie's, but still retained 30% of the shares. Serena's face finally changed. Lin's group was my grandfather's life's work. When my mother married my father, the 2 groups merged. But my mother had a trick up her sleeve. She retained 30% of the group's original shares in her personal name. These shares were directly transferred to my name after her death. Over the years, my father had always wanted me to transfer the shares to him, but I had always refused. This was the root cause of our increasingly poor relationship. He thought I was just a clueless little girl, guarding a mountain of gold but not knowing how to use it. But he didn't know that when my mother was alive, she had already taught me how to become a qualified manager, hand in hand. I had just been hiding my talents all these years. What do you want to do? Nothing much. I took out my phone, dialed Uncle David's number, and turned on the speakerphone. Uncle David, you can start. Okay, miss. Uncle David's steady voice came through. The joint statement of the original shareholders of Lin's group will be released on major financial platforms in 5 minutes. What statement? Serena roared at me. I ignored her and slowly explained to the reporters on the scene. A statement about me, Arya, as the largest individual shareholder of Lin's group, jointly with several other original shareholders, demanding to withdraw investment from Xie's group and conduct an independent audit of Xie's group's financial situation in recent years. Withdraw investment? Independent audit? Everyone present gasped. Xie's group's current scale was largely due to the assets it acquired from Lin's group back then. If Lin's shares were withdrawn, Xie's group would undoubtedly have its foundation undermined and would collapse instantly. Moreover, there would be a financial audit. How could a large group like Xie's be clean? Once investigated, it would be a light sentence for my father, Marcus, to spend the rest of his life in prison. You wouldn't dare. Serena trembled with anger, glaring at me fiercely. See if I dare. He smiled sweetly ahead. Marcus seemed to have been drained of all his strength, slumped on the ground, unable to even utter a rebuttal. He looked at me, his eyes filled with fear and despair. He finally realized that what he had raised was not a docile sheep, but a wolf that bites and takes revenge. 5 minutes later, almost all reporters' phones received the same financial news push. Lynn's shareholders issue a joint statement demanding withdrawal of investment from Suez and launching an independent audit. Suez Group may face the biggest crisis in history. As soon as the news came out, Suez Group's stock instantly began to plummet. It only took less than 10 minutes to go from limit up to limit down. Countless calls began to pour into Marcus's phone. From the board of directors, from shareholders, from partners. But he didn't answer any of them. He just stared at me, as if looking at a monster. Why? He asked hoarsely. I raised you for 20 years. Why do you do this to me? Raised me for 20 years. I laughed as if I had heard a great joke. Yes, you did raise me for 20 years. But it was with the money my mother left behind, not only raising me, but also raising your illegitimate daughter. Making me call your mistress aunt, and making me call her daughter sister. Enjoying everything my mother brought, while Sanchi ing that I, the daughter with her blood, was an eyesore. Marcus, put your hand on your heart and ask yourself, have you been worthy of me these 20 years? Have you been worthy of my dead mother? My voice grew louder and louder, and my emotions became more and more agitated. All the grievances and resentment accumulated in the previous life burst out at this moment. Marcus was speechless, his face turning green and white. And Serena's body stiffened when she heard the words, illegitimate daughter. Her biggest secret was exposed by me in public, making her unable to maintain her composure any longer. You're talking nonsense. She roared at me. Arya, you're a madwoman. Like a mad beast, she pounced on me, trying to shut my mouth. The bodyguards Owen arranged immediately stepped forward and pressed her firmly to the ground. I'm a madwoman? I looked down at her. No matter how crazy I am, I can't do something like burying my own sister alive. Serena, you and your mother have been occupying the magpie's nest for so many years. It's time to return it to its rightful owner. I stopped looking at them and turned to leave. There was no need to watch this farce anymore. I would leave the rest to Uncle David and the law. Just as I turned around, Julian, who had been silent all along, suddenly rushed over and grabbed my leg. Arya, I'm sorry. I was wrong, he cried, snot and tears flowing, looking a mess. It was all Serena who forced me. It was she who seduced me. It was she who made me cooperate with her in acting. I don't like her at all. The person I love is you, Arya. We're getting married soon, aren't we? Look, our wedding ring. I've always been wearing it. He raised his hand, the engagement ring I gave him shining particularly dazzling under the flashing lights. Looking at him, I only felt nauseous. In the previous life he had the same look on his face. After I died, he lived happily with Serena, while pretending to be my deeply affectionate widower in public, gaining countless sympathies and comfortably taking over everything I owned. Let go, I said coldly. I won't let go. He hugged me tightly. Arya, can you forgive me? Let's start over. I'll never see her again. I told you to let go. My voice became even colder. Arya. I lost my patience, raised my high-heeled foot, and kicked him in the chest without any mercy. He grunted and fell to the ground. I looked down at him and said, word by word, Julian, don't let me hear my name from your mouth again. You're not worthy. I left the Sia Corporation building. The noise and chaos behind me had nothing to do with me. I got into Owen's car and leaned back in the seat, closing my eyes. The high level of tension I'd endured for the past few hours left me feeling exhausted. It's over? Owen asked. No, it's just beginning. Next, the Sia family would face shareholder withdrawals, bank debt collection, and a thorough investigation by the Securities Regulatory Commission. Each link was connected. They had nowhere to escape. Well done. Owen handed me a bottle of water. But are you just going to let that Ming guy get away with it? Let him get away with it? I unscrewed the cap and took a sip. The real show is yet to come. The first thing I did when I got back to the hotel was call Julian's father, the chairman of the Meng Group. The Meng and Xie families were longtime friends, and the driving force behind this marriage. Chairman Meng had always been optimistic about me, hoping to bind the two companies more closely through the marriage. The phone connected, and Chairman Meng's hearty laughter came from the other end. Arya, I heard you're back safe and sound. That's great. Uncle Robert will personally welcome you back and wash away the dust in a few days. Uncle Robert, that won't be necessary, I said faintly. My engagement to Julian ends here. There was silence on the other end of the phone. Arya, is there some kind of misunderstanding? Did Julian do something wrong? You should watch the news today. I think you'll understand. Hanging up the phone, I could imagine the wonderful expression on Chairman Meng's face when he saw the news. The Meng family valued reputation above all else. With such a scandal, his son Julian was probably already a major stain in his eyes. And his affair with Serena would cause him to be completely socially dead within the entire upper-class circle of Beijing. That would be more painful than killing him. Sure enough, it wasn't long before Julian's call came. I didn't answer it. He called again and again, then sent text messages. Arya, please answer my phone. My dad is kicking me out of the house. I have nothing now. I know I was wrong. Give me another chance. I'll do anything to repay you. Looking at these messages, I only felt ridiculous. If only you had known this earlier. I directly blacklisted his number. After dealing with these things, I finally had time to deal with my own. I made an appointment to meet Uncle David. In the hotel cafe, he pushed a thick stack of documents in front of me. Miss, this is a list of all the assets your mother left behind, as well as evidence of Marcus transferring assets behind your back all these years. I opened the documents and looked at the shocking numbers and appalling projects on them, my eyes growing colder and colder. Marcus was more greedy and shameless than I had imagined. He had almost hollowed out half of the company my mother left behind. Uncle David, is this evidence enough to put him behind bars for life? Enough. Uncle David nodded. Embezzlement, occupational embezzlement, financial fraud. With multiple crimes combined, he can forget about getting out in his lifetime. Very good. I closed the documents. Then sent him on his way. A week later, Marcus was formally arrested by the police for multiple economic crimes. Xie Corporation declared bankruptcy and liquidation. Serena, as an accomplice, was also taken away for investigation, and her background was dug up by the media. It turned out that her mother was just a small secretary by Marcus's side back then. She barely squeezed into the Xie family, because she was pregnant. But Marcus had never married her. Serena, this illegitimate daughter, also became the biggest joke in the entire Beijing. Everything was developing as I had predicted. With my great revenge achieved, I wasn't as happy as I had imagined. I just felt very tired. I moved back to the villa my mother left me. Everything here was still as I remembered it. I dismissed all the servants in the house. Those were all replaced by Marcus later, and were his people. Living alone in this empty house, I felt at peace instead. One afternoon, I received an unexpected call. It was from the police station. Is this Miss Arya? Marcus wants to see you. I was silent for a moment, then agreed. Some things needed to be settled. In the detention center's meeting room, I saw Marcus again. In just half a month, he looked 20 years older. His hair was gray, his face was full of wrinkles, he was wearing a prison uniform, and his eyes were cloudy. He no longer had the superior demeanor of the former chairman of the board. He looked at me, his lips moved, as if he wanted to say something. You've lost weight. In the end, he only said this. I didn't speak, just quietly looked at him. I didn't expect. You remembered everything. He smiled bitterly. I thought you were still young and didn't understand anything. I just didn't want to understand, I said. Arya, I was wrong. He looked at me, and 2 lines of tears flowed from his cloudy eyes. Can you, for the sake of me being your father, let Serena go? She's the only daughter I have left. I looked at him and suddenly laughed. Even at this moment, all he could think about was his precious daughter. Father. I questioned him. Back then, When you left me alone on the snow mountain to die, did you ever think that you were my father too? He was rendered speechless by my question. Marcus, rest assured, I said, standing up and preparing to leave. I won't do anything to her. The law will give her the fairest trial. I walked to the door, then stopped and looked back at him for the last time. Oh right, I forgot to tell you. I've been reborn. It doesn't matter if you don't understand. You just need to know that in my previous life, that's exactly what you said to me. You said that if my life could be exchanged for Serena's, then my death would be worthwhile. Now the tables have turned. I hope that every day you're in there, you can think long and hard about what it truly means to have a worthwhile death. After saying that, I walked out without looking back. The sunlight outside was a bit dazzling. I raised my hand to shield my eyes and took a deep breath. The air was filled with the scent of freedom. My phone rang. It was Owen. Young miss, are you finished? Everyone's waiting for you at the beach. The barbecue and beer are all ready. I smiled. I'll be right there. My life can finally begin again. A new life that belongs to me.